Okay, excellent. Thank you, Anna. We've got everybody else on. Thanks for everybody joining. We're just starting out. Anna was just speaking. Anna is our co-host from Vietnam, and I'm Denell Falk. I'm your Civilized Adventures host, and we'll be hosting a trip to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos in February 2022. So tonight, what we're going to do is run you through the trip and give you an idea of what these lovely countries have to store and how we propose on traveling through these areas. Now, some people have been asking us is why do we start in Hoi An? And the reason for that is because Korean Airlines has direct flights. You can fly from Vancouver over to Seoul on Korean, and then from Seoul down into Hoi An directly, international airport and that such. So it was just going to be a whole lot more efficient. And then actually when we're leaving, then you can leave right from Cambodia and Siem Reap, our last place. And then again, you go from Siem Reap up into Korea and Korea back into Vancouver. There's lots and lots of other options for flight routings, but that is why we chose to start the trip in Hoi An and then carry on up into the northern part of Vietnam and then over into Laos and back down into Cambodia. So that's the reason of the journey there. I kind of feel lost if I don't have my mouse. So, here I say, let's just really pretend that we're in a joint dining room or living room or whatever, and we're sitting around with friends, and all we're going to do tonight is chat about travel. There we go. So here we are in one of my favorite cities just to kind of hang out and relax, and that's Hoi An. So Hoi An dates back to about the 15th century. Old trading going through and such, and honestly, this is still a scene that you can see in Hoi An now. One year when I was in Hoi An, there was the nasty storms that went through, but this was in September, so I'm not expecting any of those floods and that stuff going through. But the people are so resilient. The floods will come through, the river will come up, and all the streets are flooded with water. So they actually have their freezers up on they have their freezers up on hoists is where they can raise them up and down. And then when the floods pass out, they just go through and they'll paint the insides of their restaurants again. But consequently, we all know. Sorry, sorry, I'm messing Lena up because I'm working the keyboard, still trying to let people in. um, So what I was there one time and when they had these big floods, and so they hoisted up the freezers. Everything in the restaurant had to be sprayed down with probably just an old hose or something, and then they went in and they just repainted. But because they were painting on wet walls, the paint would never ever dry. So you could go in a week later, a month later, probably never mattered. You'd lean up against these lovely yellow walls, and you would have nice yellow on the back of your. Shouldn't wear white anyway, but very interesting. Can we go now? There we go. So one of the arts and crafts that I was really, really impressed with in Vietnam is their very, very intricate embroidery that they do. And if you look at that, that looks like a photograph, a very, very good photograph, but it isn't. It's a silk embroidery. Every hair represented by a silk thread. There is another side of this because they always do two-sided embroidery. The other side of it is actually the woman's face and her surrounding around on her face. Another thing that is very, very famous is their beautiful paper lanterns that they make. Absolutely vibrant colors. So, they're really pretty to look at. You think, oh, yeah, okay. But there's actually stories behind into the lanterns. And we'll go and have a little visit with some of the lantern makers and hear their stories about why they make the lanterns. Another one of my favorite things to do is to go on cycling tours outside of Hoi An. Now, cycling, don't worry, it's not hard. It's very, very flat. We go out into the countryside to get away from traffic, but not only that, to give us this type of exposure into the countryside. The people are just going on with their daily lives. Everybody is on bicycle. Everybody rides bicycles in Vietnam. So it's you all of a sudden you're just immersing yourself into the local type of culture. We stop at the different ag culture places along the way. You can get as involved as you like, and actually they love it when you'll take the watering cans and go off and help them water their fields. If you're not up to biking, this is Rosalie. Rosalie has actually been already to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos with me before. And her husband, David, and a couple of other friends have already signed up. So I had to put in Rosalie's picture on that one. Hey, Rosalie, how are you doing this evening? Another really good fun thing to do and very, very worthwhile is learning on how to do a little bit of gourmet cooking. Now, Vietnamese food is always super fresh, loaded with lots of great vegetables, nice fresh seafoods, lots of chickens, not too much for beef, but a lot of chicken, some porks and some beef, mostly chicken, seafood, and beautiful fresh vegetables. We do a cooking class is where we can all participate and that such. Now I laugh at this picture because it's all the women out there doing the finer things in the cooking side. And the guys, they're all standing off the background. I think most of them were drinking beer. But then it was really quite funny when you had to watch the guys get in there and they're trying to roll up their spring rolls and that such. So you can rest assured the ladies' lunch looked a whole lot more presentable on the plate than what the guys made, in most cases anyway. We are going to drive from Hoi An up into Hue, and we go over a very interesting pass. And Anna, would you like to tell us a little bit more on what we can expect on this day?
Um, so it's about like 3 hours driving on the way from Hoi An to Hue, but it wouldn't be bored at all. It wouldn't be boring at all because during the drive we're gonna make several stops. For example, when you just leave Hoi An, we will stop at the at Da Nang Beach, also known as China Beach, during the war with the American. I mean the U.S. with the U.S. because they used to set their Air Force base in Da Nang, and then they just quit right after 1975, and they own completely removed before 1980 and 1980. Which is not too long ago, and then we also mix the other stuff at the on the bank of the Han River. We see the Dragon Bridge, which is a symbol of the city, and we also get some more information about the Da Nang city, which is very young, dynamic, and have been considered as one of the best city in Vietnam to live, even though Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City are the two biggest city of a lot of job opportunity where people making money, but where people want to live is in Da Nang, not in Hanoi nor Ho Chi Minh City. And then as you can see in the picture, that is at Hai Van Pass. We also make a stop on the pass, and then you can capture the amazing views. It's so that is a coastal. That is a kind of like central coast panoramic view. The stop on the pass would take about like 10 minutes. It depends on how much time you want to spend there, or you want to grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea there, and then we continue the drive to the imperial city Hue. From Hai Van Pass to Hue, it's just about nearly an hour. So when you're in the on the pass, that means you're already there in Hue very quick. You don't feel it's bored at all, even though the drive would be about like 3 hours and a half.
Okay, great. Thanks, Anna. We've got a couple of drivers on the computer and we're confusing ourselves. So then we arrive into Hue, the imperial city. And Hue is really, it's very, very ancient old capital and, as we said, imperial city. it's a very, very interesting place, is where tourism was a little slower catching on here than what it was in Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City. Or um, my first visit into Hue is probably about 12 years ago. And from what I understand, again, it's one of those places that is still rather standing still. And one of the things is they always talk about the imperial cuisine that you get in the city of Hue. And we will be going out to a imperial restaurant where we'll have a chance to sample some of the cuisines and such that the king once enjoyed. So Anna, can you tell us a little bit on why the king had such a wide variety to choose which he wanted to dine?
Uh, so Hue had been known for its royal cuisine. Even for us, the Vietnamese, whenever we go to Hue, we all try that royal cuisine, which come out in the very nice presentation. So, according to the legend, in the old time, it's said that there was about 30 to 50 different dishes in a meal for the king, which is a lot. Uh, the dishes found on the royal dining tables is kind of like a work of the aesthetic skills. Uh, on the chef want to show off their ability, their skill to the king, to get the favor from the king. So the food was not only delicious, had a lot of benefit for the health of the king, but also it's come out in a very well presentation. And it also said that the chef, they take a very serious very serious cares about seasoning all the dishes. Normally we just put like one time of the seasoned, but the chef during that old time, it said that they put 3 or 4 times, not only one time, like a liter then a liter, to make sure the best flavor of the dish that offered to the king. But of course the king can never finish all of the food. uh, Nobody can finish all like 30 to 50 different dishes in a meal. So all the leftover food wasn't thrown away, but it's been given to the servants to finish it, but not wasting it at all. So there was also another funny thing, because you're gonna try in the royal meal, you also try a kind of special wine there. I already requested. So that is actually we call this local whiskey or wine, or you can maybe call tonic wine. So it said that in the old time there was Đức and Minh Mạng kings, the two kings in the Nguyen dynasty. These two kings were so weak, physically weak actually. And then the doctors, they select many different kind of Chinese herbs, and then they soak on the earth in the liquor, and then they serve that brew the king daily to improve their physical condition. And this kind of whiskey or wine, maybe wine, this kind of wine to help the king really much. So you also try that during the royal meal, and then maybe you tell Daniel that day what is different after you felt it, after you tried it.
Yes, it's very, very good. Donna, can you hear me out there? You keep losing video. What you can do is turn off your video camera. That'll help your connection be able to see what's going on here. Hopefully that'll help you. Anyway, I'm going to carry on. So when we're in Hue, there's lots of different types of transportation. And actually, wherever we travel, we always mix up every option that we can find for different modes of transportation. One of them that we will do is taking one of the dragon boats, and we'll have our own exclusive dragon boat, and we'll go cruising down the Perfume River, which is the heart in Hue City. Also, another great way of getting around in really Southeast Asia is there's rickshaws or there's cyclos, always employing the local people, taking us along on the streets at a local view. So you can see everything that you're driving through. a lot more intimate type of experience than sitting on a bus and just driving through, is where here you have an opportunity to actually get a feel of what's going on right onto the street. And yes, it can be hot, so cool clothes and a bottle of water is always essential, but we have that sort of thing covered. From Hue, we'll jump on an airplane and we'll fly up into Hanoi. I've got little Lena giving me my cue card because I have to tell you a little secret. Denell, as many times as I've been through Vietnam, I always mix up Hanoi and Hoi An. So I think if anybody can catch me doing it in this little session, then what I'm going to have to do is I will buy you a very, very cold beer anywhere in Vietnam. How's that? So anyway, we're going to start in Hanoi. And Hanoi, again, it's one of the world's most ancient cities. And I guess that comes into as a city that has been constantly the same city. Yes, there will be older cities or cities prior to Hanoi, but never has that city retained its status all the way through like Hanoi has. Almost said it. We're going to really, really work hard, and we do work hard to make sure that we can take you beyond what the normal type of tourist gets. You'll talk to your friends, and yes, they've gone off and they've seen the water puppet shows. Well, one of the ways that we do this different, we don't go to the commercial water show. We go into a private uh, puppeteer master's home, and they will give us a private water puppet show. And the water puppet shows in ancient Vietnamese times was very much part of the entertainment. And so it's very much part of their culture. We'll have opportunities to experience that. We will have some awesome, awesome dining experiences. Everything from first class restaurants where they have Vietnamese to French to Western type of cuisine with all types of fusions back and forth. If you're just looking for as well, I just want a regular beef steak, we're not going to leave Alberta for that. But if you're looking for things with fusion food and beautiful spices and look at all those beautiful fresh vegetables and that such. Now, Anna's hometown is Hanoi. I almost said it. And she is going to arrange for her guides to take us out on a walking foodie tour of Hanoi City. Anna?
Yes. Hanoi had been known for its street food. So many famous travel blogger, influencer, Anthony Bourdain, maybe you have heard about his name. They all tried the kind of street food in Hanoi instead of just sitting in the high-end luxury restaurant. So Danielle, she had asked me the other day that what would I do on Friday night after work. So in the weekend from Friday to Sunday, some block or street in the old quarter are blocked completely just for walking. So what I'm gonna do after work is just I make my way home to the old quarter, wandering around and sitting at any corner that I feel comfortable or I want to sit or to try any kind of food that I want to try that day, such as like spring roll, like you can see in the pictures, or some kind of noodle, the Vietnamese bread, which is way better than the Subway there. I tried there, but it wasn't that good though. Or I just walked through the small alley and then try the famous egg coffee, enjoy some snack, and later on when my friend joined me, and then we walked to the pub street, or where known as it's you to know that the global intersection always exciting there. So many people grab some beer, some snack, chit chat, enjoy some food, and then I never get home before 10 p.m. on Friday night. So your hotel there in Hanoi is located right in the heart of the old quarter. You can experience all the things that I have just said by yourself anytime. You also have your stay in the weekend.
There we go. So where you stay in a place is really, really important. location, location, location. That's one of my golden rules anytime that I'm selecting hotels on anywhere that we take you. And this particular hotel is a boutique hotel. It's more of a local operation rather than one of the big chains, but it's very, very quaint. This is your view. And this particular hotel is in the French Quarter. And it's right along, very close to where the main lake is in the center of Hanoi. Inside the hotels, very, very comfortable. We don't necessarily spend or put a lot of emphasis on that your room has to be a grand ballroom. It's going to be absolutely comfortable, luxurious, quiet, air conditioned, top quality of linens and beds and such. You're going to have a great sleep. You'll come down into the boutique fine restaurant that they have. It's where you'll have your breakfast. And if we're dining inside the hotel, that would be where you're dining, or if you chose to just have an early night one night, didn't want to go out for dinner, you'd be dining in the hotel dining room. You'll find that we really do pay a lot of attention on picking out restaurants that are going to give you that culinary experience in every place that you go. And street food is one of them. And Anna's people will have the street vendors picked out that they eat at a regular basis and they know that are hygienic and all that kind of stuff. So from Hanoi, we're going to drive up into Halong Bay. So Halong Bay, everybody's heard of that, with the beautiful outcrops all over the place, and you can get on the Chinese junks and you can go cruising along into the fascinating limestone inlets and such. What we're going to do is take you on a little 2-night journey on Indo Sails. Excuse me. But rather than staying in Halong Bay, we are going to go over to Lang Bay. And why we're going over to Lang Bay? Okay. Sorry, I'm just having a pop-up. I hope you can't see that. While we're going over into Lang Bay, why we're going over to Lang Bay is because it's much, much quieter over there. Now, all those boats that you see down there, don't panic. That's not a whole bunch of other boats there. Those were actually fishing villages and people that are living off on the water in the Halong Bay area. This is where we're going to take you over into Lang Bay, is where you don't have to compete for every bit of space and a place to park the boat and that such. So you're still going to get the beautiful, beautiful limestone backdrops, and we'll be able to go cycling, walking, kayaking, and then we'll come back to our luxurious river boat and be able to just sit back and relax, enjoy all of our gourmet meals on board. We'll be very, very well looked after, comfortable, and entertained while we're on board. And then we'll be doing all of our activities off onto the shore. So we've got 2 nights, 2 days up in Lahang Bay. Then we will cruise back to the main port in Halong Bay. We'll be taken back off to the shore, and then we'll drive back into Hanoi. We'll spend 1 night in Hanoi because it's actually quite a long drive if we were to try and come off the boat into Hanoi and then over into Ma Chao. So we'll spend, it's a Friday or a Saturday night, so we'll have a great opportunity to just hang out 1 night in the city, listen to the local music, go off into the markets, go off in and try more of the street food, and just really, really get an enjoyment on our free time there. I'll be there to host you on any of these places. Never ever have to worry about it if you're traveling single or you're a little bit nervous about going out and something. There's always a group of us that join together, and those people who would just rather go out and have a quiet night, or if you want to have a quiet night in your hotel, the options are all yours. There's lots and lots of flexibility there, but you might be missing a fun time. So then in the morning, we'll get up and we'll drive out into Ma Chao, taking us off into the countryside. So this is their mountainous area. So when us being Canadians, we kind of think, oh, those aren't real mountains, but actually they are, because in the time that we'll be there, is their temperatures can go as low as 0 and sometimes even -5. So it's definitely a place where we're going to be suggesting that we want to throw in our little light down puffs to make sure that we're equipped for the different elevations. So that's really it. It's the elevation of where you're going. So I've been to Vietnam now 7 times, and I have actually never been out to Ma Chao. So every time I go back to Vietnam, I'm always looking for a new spot that I can try. What is the place that you really think is, okay, how can we do this one different? What other thing can we add in there? So this year, the pick is Ma Chao. So Anna went out and had a look at it. So Anna, will you tell us a little bit more about this?
I just returned Hanoi from Mai Châu actually last Wednesday. So in March, I've been there twice. I really like that place, although it's located not too far from Hanoi, like about 3 hours driving. Mai Châu is a completely different world. So this is the home of the Thai people. As you can see, the picture in the corner of the left side, or the other black Thai people on the picture of the right side, or the Hmong people on the picture of the left side, up on the left side. So that, like, the Mai Châu is a home of different hill tribes people, and well known for on the rice paddy field, on the greenery, and all of these offering you like a kind of a laid back ambience. So there are many activities, features for you to do during our program, such as we go to visit the Sunday market. So you can see the people, they wearing all the colorful costumes. So because they come to the markets not only to sell their wave, catching up with friends, but also especially for the young people, they go there to try to get their soulmate in the market. And we also have a lot of interaction with the people there, having our lunch at the local place, chatting with her or chatting with the other very powerful hill tribe women. When after we finished visiting these Sunday markets, that woman, she had a huge affection of the to the people there. She kind of like build up the tourism in Mai Châu, in that area. And then we also have some free time for you to enjoy the hotel facility, or wandering around the rice paddy field that just around of the hotel, enjoying the bamboo rafting. As you can see in the pictures, we can also do some walking tour or cycling trip during your time in Mai Châu. So it's worth it for you to stay 2 nights there.
So I guess the thing of it is in Ma Chao.
That is the hotel you're going to stay.
Yes. So while we're in Mount Machal, that really is about being able to go off and visit authentic rural markets and to expose us to what is it like to work in a rice paddy. We can go and wander around with the local people. They're super, super friendly. We can go and ask them on what is the process of harvesting rice, and maybe there's bean sprouts up on the hill or whatever. We can just go off exploring, and we'll have our local guides there with us. So we'll always have the translators, which is very, very important. And we can go off and have conversation. The type of hotel that we're staying in here is a community-based type of hotel. So the cabanas or the chalets are built up on stilts, and that is one of the Thai architects, but they're all built up on terraces. But the hotel, I would classify it as civilized rustic. So you can see that the room is very clean, pleasant, but it's not hugely grand and crazy elegant elegant like we would see on some of our one and only properties or something. But there's a swimming pool. There's ceiling fans, mosquito nets, and you'll be very, very comfortable on that side of it. You've got your decks that you can sit out on. They do have cold beer. I can't guarantee on how the wine will be out here, but you can always get a soda pop or a fresh um, fruit juice or something like that as well. And one of the things that I always caution people is when we're going off into a place like this, the experience that you have in a hotel has to do with a lot of your attitude that when you go into a place like this. They do their best to cater, but service is always a little bit slower than what we're accustomed to in the cosmopolitan cities, is where we're all always just racing around like crazy. This is about actually getting down, slowing down, and immersing yourself off into the local culture. And that's why we pick places like this, because we think that's what travel is about. Would you agree with me? Yay. So from here, we're going to fly over into Luang Prabang, into Laos. Now, Laos, I haven't been to Laos for, it's probably been about 11 years. And from all of the conversations I have with people who are there on a regular basis, it sounds like it really hasn't changed. And I have to say, is when I went into Laos about 12 years ago, I really, really felt like I had stepped back in time, more so than what I did in Vietnam or even in Siem Reap. But it's a very, very sleepy, relaxed. It's a very spiritual type of environment where nobody seems too bothered. It's developed for tourism, but not overdeveloped. It's just still slow and sleepy, and you might have to wait longer to get something, but it's all very, very peaceful. You can go and get a hot spring roll or a cold beer or a hot cup of tea any place down along on the river. Our hotels are very, very nice. There's not a lot of them, but the ones that we'll be staying in is a really a nice place. So it's kind of one of the environments is where you just kind of fit into it. It isn't like, well, we're going to take you and show you this site and this site and this site. There's really two main things that you do while you're in Laos, actually three. You go down to the river and you do a sunset cruise or a sunset sundowner at one of the local bars and you chat with the locals. Another thing is you get up very, very early in the morning and you will go out and you witness giving the alms to the monks, which is a very, very moving experience. The other thing is, well, I guess there's a few more things. There's the Bachi ceremony, which again is part of their spiritual side of it. And then as well as the incredible architecture that there is inside of Laos. It certainly stands to make an impression in anybody's mind. And then you can go down the river into the Paco Caves, is where there's the ancient Buddha sculptures and very, very religious, spiritual place for the local people. And Buddhists from all over the world make this one of their main stops to be able to go and visit. So from Luang Prabang, we will make one stop is where we will go out to an elephant sanctuary. Elephant sanctuary has been formed to protect elephants that have lost their income, otherwise their food, their sponsorship. That these elephants used to be in logging and heavy work. Well, now that they're not using them any longer in logging, these elephants still have to be fed. And we all know that elephants eat a lot. So some people have set up a sanctuary, and it's something like about 188 acres of land. And there's a group of about 40 elephants. They have good elephant interaction, is where tourists can go in and feed the elephants. There's some opportunities is where you can scrub elephants and that such. Everything is done very sensitively for the elephant's well-being. From Laos, from Luang Prabang, we'll be flying over to Cambodia, Siem Reap. So Siem Reap, everybody knows that is the Great Angkor Wat. And the temples are absolutely phenomenal. There is no secret about that. We will be going to see the temples. We'll have 2 days of temple passes. And you think, oh my God, 2 days of temples? Well, you have to break it up because, yeah, 2 days of temples would drive anybody. Oh my God. Anyway, we will see Angkor Wat at sunrise. Be there in the morning, can be there in the afternoon. We'll go out to Bantry Temple in the afternoon. And why do we do that? Because that's where the light is better in the afternoon at certain spots. We actually do pay attention to that kind of thing because it makes a huge, huge difference on what your photographs may be. When you're off into Angkor Wat itself, we'll be walking around with our specialist guide that will take us into the little hidden coves and that such. You'll have the freedom to be able to move around. If you want to listen to everything that the guide is saying, that's very easy. You can just be up with the guide and he will make sure that you've got there. Otherwise, if you're walking around and you're taking pictures, see how bright my shirt is tonight? Well, I'll be wearing something like that again, so I can keep an eye on you, and you, more importantly, can see where I'm at. And I tend to be the bridge in between the laggers, usually the photographers. I'm usually one of you, but I'm always watching, where are you at? Where are you at? And keeping an eye on where the guide is, because the places are massive and you can get lost. So we'll have that well covered, that you'll have the flexibility if you want to roam through these different places and do your own photography. I mean, sometimes you might see a monk that is coming in, like this shot here, a monk walking through into the temple. Oh yeah, that's a photograph that you want to have. So sometimes you're hanging around trying to get those things. There will be those kinds of opportunities right throughout the trip. Also, seeing sunrise over Angkor Wat Temple is pretty phenomenal. If you get lucky and the skies are clear, you can actually get photographs like this. Another real highlight to me, and something that I feel very, very good about supporting, is the Cambodian circus team that is based right out of Siem Reap. And all these young people were once displaced. They didn't have a purpose in life. They had no careers and really had very little hope. And they have trained and trained and trained and are incredible athletes. And they put on an incredible show. And our ticket proceeds, we buy the best of the seats that we can. We spend the most money that we can going off onto this circus. And that money goes right back into supporting these young people and the circus that they do. I feel like it's a very, very worthwhile thing to support. The next thing that I've been supporting in Siem Reap for years and years, I actually have a child that I've supported in Siem Reap for now. It's been about 14 years, and I've put her through English school, and now she's done 1 degree in university. Her first one was in tourism, and now she's actually going for her master's degree in tourism. But she is now fluent in English and has taught her brother and sister, and it's actually her who supports her entire family. We'll have an opportunity to meet Kanika when we're over there, and I know that there's a few people that have met that are online right now with us, and they have met Kanika as well. And one of the projects that we've been involved in is we purchased bicycles. We could purchase used bicycles, fabricated bicycles over in Siem Reap. We were paying about $50 a bicycle. And we purchased at one time 44 bicycles, and we delivered those all off into the young girls who had to walk for hours to whether they were going to work, but most of them were all schoolgirls. And now they have bicycles as where they can ride back and forth. I don't have my project set up yet for what we're going to do in 2022, but I've got my organizations over there that I work with, and we'll see on how many people are willing and how many people are keen. If you would like to get involved in a small project, is where we can see the immediate gratitude of giving a hand up and getting somebody on their right way. That will be our third highlight while we're in Siem Reap. From Siem Reap, that is the end of our trip. It is a 18-night trip, so it's quite ambitious. We will be moving a lot. And believe me, when I tell you you've got time to sit back and relax, and there's a nice balance of that all the way through the itinerary, but honestly, it's a good thing to do because there's so much to see and so much to do. We're going to give you a good overview. I can't do this length. I can't do 3 countries in anything less than 18 nights. And I feel that I've got a good balance of activity, rest, city, country, water, cities, temples, spiritual, cultural interaction, food. It's the all through trip of a lifetime. So I would like to open that up. Has anybody got any questions you'd like to ask? Oh, there's no questions. I think one of the things is that obviously it's always on everybody's mind is, okay, well, what's happening with COVID? I think the big thing is what we're talking about is travel in February 2022. Right now, yes, COVID is still a problem. So what Civilized Adventures is offering is that you put down a $1,000 deposit to secure your space. We now have 12 of 16 spaces left. We've just released the trip. And you put down your $1,000, and if the Canadian government does not lift the travel advisory against all non-essential travel, then Civilized Adventures gives you the option of a full refund of your deposit. And if you still are thinking, well, maybe I still want to go, or I just want to postpone it to that stuff, we will be running the trip as soon as we possibly can. So trust us, you guys all do, you've known us for a long time. We will be holding your money, but quite honestly, unless we've got a deposit, we don't know on who's serious. So that's kind of the thing. The deposit holds your seat. If by chance it can't happen, which honestly, if you think about it, February 2022, that's over 2 years since COVID hit us. They are going to have it under control. All the countries are vaccinating, and the countries, Vietnam is saying that they're going to have their entire population of 89 million people vaccinated by July. Just got a question there is what is the weather typically like in February? It's good. It's really good. Way warmer than what it is here in wintertime. The daytime temperatures, it's hot. So daytime temperatures are going to be anything of high 20s, so 25 to 27 degrees. And nighttime temperatures will cool down to typically 19 degrees sort of thing. So air conditioning in the lower lands and such is very important. Also too is when we go up into the highlands, that's where it does really get cool. So elevation makes a difference. Another question just come in is, what is the group size? The group size is 16 guests and 2 hosts. Any other questions out there? Okay. Well, we're just coming up to our hour, so we've done very well on that. I want to introduce you to Julie. Julie, many of you already have spoken to Julie here in the office. She will be available for any further of your questions that you may have about booking and what you need to do on that side of it, as well as she'll make sure that you've got proper insurance. Right now, any of the insurances do not cover for COVID, but again, as I stressed, Civilized Adventures is guaranteeing your deposit back should you not be able to travel because of COVID. So please give us a call. Julie is here in the office. Well, we're going to go home very soon now, but she can certainly help you out. And if there's anything that you ever need from me directly, please don't hesitate to give me a call. Thanks for joining, and everyone have a great night, and thanks again. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye, Betty.